Fight Fiend Forecast. I'm Joseph, the host, back for another prediction show. This is UFC Vegas 118 at the Meta Apex, headlined by Belal. Remember the name Muhammad. How could we forget? Versus Gabriel Bonfim. We got 12 fights right now, maybe another added later in the week, so Platinum Forecasters on Patreon, in Discord will have access to any changes, fights, getting added, stuff like that. As last week we had a fight get changed up. Someone had to step in on short notice. Jesus Aguilar, he stepped out last week, and Louis Garule stepped in. So all changes were made on Patreon for Platinum Forecasters. Stuff like that is all on Discord and Patreon. Even pick changes, if that ever happens, it'll be on Patreon or Discord. I'll try to let people know later in the week as we're live Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern time for the Prop Fiends. One of the best shows on there when it comes to props of the week, outcomes, betting on the fights. So check out the live stream, 9 p.m. Eastern time. We're live giving out props, bets, and it's a ton of fun. Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. We also do a watch party during the event. That's also a ton of fun. So make sure you're watching some of these live streams, staying forecasted on the channel. There's a lot going on, especially in Discord. Discord's free. There's a lot going on in there. This week, today, the last couple days, with all sports, F3 is specializing in the UFC, but we do talk about all sports from baseball, hockey to basketball. Basketball is the key. Today, I have done a lot of research on basketball, decoding the NBA Finals. So all the codes are posted in Patreon. Unlock the channels in Discord by joining Patreon too. All the locked channels can be unlocked via Patreon. So let's get going. We got 12 fights. Don't want to waste your time. We're at the Meta Apex, and we got some interesting fights on this card, and maybe some fights we just didn't ask for. So let's get it started. Smash that like button before we get going. Suplex slam the subscribe button, and we're going to start it off with the first fight of the night between Ketlen Souza and Ariane Carnelossi, who Carnelossi was on a long hiatus. She came back. She ended up getting like a DQ win. Not necessarily deserved the win, but she ended up winning. It was a intentional headbutt by Pierre Rodriguez. Fight goes to Carnelossi via DQ. Now recently versus Toledo Alencar, she got submitted and controlled on the ground, and her skill set doesn't really seem up to par compared to like a Ketlen Souza, her opponent here, who's going to be more accurate on the feet. And on the ground, I think she could be the better wrestler. Let's take a look at the UFC stats on this women's fight here. Looking at it, you got Ketlen Souza throwing more on the feet, 4 strikes per minute versus 2.5 for Carnelossi. Accuracy for Carnelossi under 40%. 56% for Ketlen Souza. And these girls have a couple UFC fights to go off too. You know, their last 5 fights, all in the UFC. Looking at Carnelossi, she's actually fought 6 times in the UFC. Ketlen Souza, she's making her 7th walk to the octagon as well. Both girls fought 6 times. So we do have some stats to go off looking at these numbers here. Now looking at the takedown percentages, takedown defense above 50% for Ketlen Souza and a scary 20% for Ariane Carnelossi here. Her accuracy with takedowns, Ketlen Souza, only 13%. She's not really looking to get the takedowns, but her defense is pretty good, and I think her reversal scrambles are pretty good too. She probably has the ability to get back to the feet if she ever gets taken down here. Carnelossi has a 50% takedown defense, averages about a takedown in a fight, but I don't think she's able to secure the takedown or do any damage with it with any kind of ground and pound. Super low output, and has a bad striking accuracy. Getting the fight to the ground's another thing, and I think Ketlen Souza can keep it standing and even be better on the ground if it happens to go there. I'm picking Ketlen Souza to be the better fighter in this first fight of the night and get it done by a decision. Not really smelling a finish in this women's fight. Both girls very tough. I see a Judge's decision coming up. For the favorite here, minus 260, rightfully so, Ketlen Souza. And now we're going to take a look at another women's fight. It's the second fight of the night, and these girls have a lot less experience in the UFC. So when you want to look at stats, not much to go off, only a Contender Series fight and one UFC fight for Duben to go off. So looking at the UFC stats, I'm not going to do that in this fight. Just not enough numbers to go off. A Contender Series fight and a UFC debut for Duben where she got head kicked. That's all the numbers you got to go off. Looking at the striking numbers and takedown defense, it's kind of irrelevant in this fight with how little UFC experience they have and UFC stats there is to go off here. So you kind of have to look at the regional scene where both girls fought some pretty low-level competition. Really low-level competition, especially the favorite here, Chaves, who looked very good on Dana White's Contender Series. Got the split decision win. Good level of competition there. Sofia Montenegro, she was my pick in that fight, Montenegro. And she ended up losing a split decision. Chaves was very tough. She had the forward pressure, high volume, and she was very durable too, able to eat some of these shots. And doing that in that last fight 8 months ago, I think she can almost replicate it against Yuneisy Duben, who's looking for these big looping shots with power, but it's landing versus low-level competition. A lot of debut fighters on the Contender Series, it worked. The overhand versus Shannon Clark. But I don't think it's going to work against a lot of these girls in the UFC. And looking at the odds, minus 400 for Chaves, I have to think she is going to replicate what she did on Dana White's Contender Series. But both girls on the regional scene fought low-level competition. There's not much UFC stats to go off. So you're basically just looking off their last fight. And I don't think Duben has the tools in the bag to even keep this really a close fight. It should be a unanimous win for Chaves in this one. Cut and dry. Chaves could even be live for that knockout finish because Judas knocked out Yuneisy Duben a year ago with the head kick in round 1. Duben's been off for a year. I don't think she's going to improve in that year, to be completely honest. I don't even know where she's training at. It's not available on Tapology. And I think Chaves is the more complete MMA fighter in this fight too. Like, well-rounded, could mix it in on the ground, and has the upside for the knockout. Although her knockout wins are against debuters, low-level wins too. Her last knockout win was versus a girl 0-2, a negative record. Never even had a MMA win. Her 3 fights before that, all debuters, and a girl 0-4. Those are the level of wins for Chaves. So you can't be completely confident she's a lock of the week at minus 400. I see value on the other side. It's women's MMA. Anything can happen. Duben does have the power, but that's really the only way she can do it in this fight. So it's kind of a hedge bet, sprinkle bet spot. Yuneisy Duben by knockout early rounds. Other than that, it's Chaves unanimously all day in this women's fight. And that'll be starting the card off with 2 Brazilian women's favorites winning by a decision, in my opinion. And now we head to the third fight of the night right now. Looking at it here, fight order could change, but the third fight of the night in front of me is Jordan Leavitt and Joanderson Brito. Now, Brito is a fighter I've been high on his last couple fights, and even in the 2 losses that he had versus Pat Sabatini and William Gomes. And those 2 fights made me not be so high on him, especially in a stylistic fight with Jordan Leavitt, where Leavitt can get the takedowns and control like Pat Sabatini and kind of just grind the fight out. Jordan Leavitt in the last fight there, he beat 10-0 Yadier Davalle by unanimous decision. He had the pressure and control the whole fight. He had takedowns, and he just looked like an improved version of himself. The Monkey King isn't just a fool. He looks kind of goofy and like a joke in there, but he's actually a good MMA fighter, puts himself around good fighters at Syndicate MMA, and I do believe he's at Extreme Couture a bit. He was for a while, so he's always with high-level guys that are in the UFC training. So he's a legit UFC fighter. Joanderson Brito, he's still in Brazil at Shooter Box. He hasn't really made these improvements in the last couple fights. He lost 2 out of the last 3. I'm not as high on him anymore, and his last fight was a unanimous decision win versus someone making their debut, and I still don't think he made many improvements in that fight versus what we're seeing from Jordan Leavitt, the underdog. You know, I know he's kind of a fool. It's kind of a weird fighter, especially the way he twerks. A lot of people don't like his style, but it might just win him the fight, the way he can get the takedowns and control the fight on the ground. I think Brito might be searching these submissions. He does have a nice ninja choke. He got it to Jonathan Pierce there 2.5 years ago, though, and his last couple fights just not looking good. Joanderson Brito always live for that submission, though. 18 wins. He has 8 submissions and 7 knockouts. Only 3 decision wins. So if Brito is to win, it's probably a submission. Finding something on the ground here, as Jordan Leavitt has 3 losses, 2 by a submission. Most recently submitted to Chase Hooper round 1 and then submitted to Paddy the Batty in 2022. So his 2 most recent losses by a submission. Brito, a big finisher. I would say he finds a submission if he's to win as a favorite, but I'm going to fade him here. I need some underdogs on this event. And stylistically, I think Jordan Leavitt could replicate what Pat Sabatini did to Joanderson Brito. Not confident. I'm telling you, I'm not confident, but I think he can. He obviously beat Yadier Devalle 10-0 in his last fight, unanimously, every round. So it's not impossible, and you got to look at the opening odds for Jordan Leavitt. The number is moving down, and the number's moving down with some speed. You know, it was, what was it exactly? $3 plus 200. It's down to plus 150, and I do believe it'll go down even more. It's only Sunday right now, recording the video. He could be plus 125, plus 110, fight night. I don't think Joanderson Brito is that good. Originally, I was high on him. I told you that at the start of the prediction. This was someone I was high on. And I feel like I had to pick him in this fight just because I've always been high on him. But stylistically, I have to make the right decision, and I think Jordan Leavitt's going to make the better decisions in this fight. It's a tough pick to make. I don't like fading someone that used to be my favorite, especially betting on. Brito made me some good money. He had a lot of quick round 1 finishes running through some easy competition, but now taking steps up in competition, fighting guys that are actually UFC caliber, he's not having as much success. And some people just don't believe in Jordan Leavitt. Not a lot of bettors are going to go and take him here, especially in that last fight where he was near a 4-1 underdog, and the Zodiac code called Jordan Leavitt with high confidence to win. So the Zodiac information, which is gematria, numerology, astrology, gave the pick on Jordan Leavitt. He wins as a 4-1 underdog. I wonder what the Zodiac information is going to have on Jordan Leavitt as an underdog again in this fight here. Little sauce if you want it, since you're listening. It's the 18th UFC event of the year, and what I'm seeing straight in front of my face is Joanderson Brito sitting on 18 wins. So I'm thinking Brito stays on 18 wins, 18th UFC event of the year, but there's a lot more gematria, numerology to go with this pick for Jordan Leavitt, and that will be for Patreon Platinum forecasters only. In Patreon, it unlocks all the Discord channels, so smash that link. We got the 4th fight coming up, 3rd women's fight out of the first 4 fights. This should be fun. If we're watching this live, watch party, live stream, should be a ton of fun early on this event. We got Chelsea Chandler and Priscila Cachoeira, 2 girls that are probably gonna throw like their life's on the line, because their contract is certainly on the line here. I think with a loss or a win, both fighters could be cut. This is the fight that no one really asked for. Both fighters getting old in their career, record's not great, and we're really looking at like the 2 worst girls in the bantamweight division. One girl's been burning my money, Priscila Cachoeira, and because of that, I will pick her in this fight. I will continue to bet her and pick her. And she's an underdog, plus 100, so we got the value here in a women's MMA fight that no one asked for, no one wants to watch. But Priscila, I think she does have the grit and volume. Looking at her striking numbers, she has a little bit more volume. In her last fight, it was a unanimous decision loss. But she stayed tough, although she was hurt and cut open, bleeding. She stayed tough and kept throwing, although those punches probably weren't doing much later in the fight. She was still throwing with volume. Looking at her striking numbers, she is throwing more per minute. Her accuracy, pretty much the same as Chelsea Chandler, but I think she will have a better striking accuracy in this fight Saturday night. Not just in her general career. Like Saturday night, Priscila has a better striking accuracy and more volume. Strikes absorbed, though. That's looking at another stat where Priscilla's not looking great. She absorbs way more. And Chelsea Chandler's probably the harder hitter. Looks like she eats more at McDonald's on the weekends, so I'm not quite sure here. Chelsea Chandler also has the reach advantage and could have the wrestling, as Priscila on the ground really can't get up and can get taken down, although her takedown defense is 70% and much better than a lot of these girls in the division. I think Priscila's takedown defense is a little underrated, but she can get taken down, and if she does get taken down, it's not a good thing. So it's tough taking Priscila, but because the odds are so close and we're still getting plus 100, I have to keep betting and picking Priscila Cachoeira, the zombie girl. I don't think the punches from Chelsea Chandler are going to do any harm. Not going to wobble. Priscila, as she is a zombie, can walk through a lot of those shots. I don't know how Chelsea Chandler can handle the adversity. I don't know if she can handle getting hit in the face, because we've seen her run away from Norma Dumont, who's not really a striker. So I'm going to say Priscila, the zombie girl, wins here, just with the fluidity of strikes, volume on the feet. Chelsea Chandler might be running away at some point in this fight, just like she did to Norma Dumont. So when you see a fighter do that, not a good look, and I will never pick them or bet them to win when someone is running away from their opponent after she got hit in the face. This is a girl that doesn't like to get hit in Chelsea Chandler, and her skills aren't that good. They're no better than Priscila Cachoeira's at the end of the day. Honestly, this is a fight no one's asked for. But we're getting it. And I kind of want it. As long as Priscila wins, I want it. If she doesn't win, then it's like, now I want her to get cut from the UFC. She's got to go. And now we got to go look at the next two fights on the prelims. Maybe one more gets added. Like I said, I'll add it into Patreon, Discord there if a fight gets added. But we got two more fights left to go and talk about. And we're talking about Bruno Silva and Edgar Chairez at flyweight. Two fighters here that are very fast and on the feet. They are very tricky to deal with. Like, I don't think these guys are at the bottom of the division. Edgar Chairez, he's 13-6, a little misleading. He did win his last two fights, and he's pretty decent. Like, he submitted CJ Vergara and Daniel Lacerda, two good wins on the ground. He's pretty tricky to deal with. And then on the feet, we seen with Tatsuro Terra there, he kind of caused him some trouble. And that was like his debut fight against Tatsuro. He came in very much in shape and showed us his skills on the ground, on the feet. On the feet, we've seen him land some knees and be very tricky for fighters to deal with. How tricky will he be versus another fast striker, low center of gravity, and can pack a punch? And Bruno Silva just went to a split decision with Charles Johnson, probably fighting the upper echelon competition over the last couple fights for sure. He even submitted Hung Sun Park in round one, an elite prospect, 10-1 from South Korea. He submitted him round one. That was only 7 months ago. So the last two fights for Bruno Silva at a higher level. Strength of schedule is higher than like CJ Vergara, Felipe Bunenz. And looking at Edgar Chairez, he struggled with Felipe Bunenz in that fight. He arguably lost. It was a split decision. Looking back at the numbers, like suffering close. I think some people did score it for Felipe in that fight. So Edgar Chairez, he's not really getting better after the fight to Tatsuro in his debut, where he did look very good. He did get those two submissions, Lacerda and Vergara, but I'm not sure how highly I can rate them. And then he lost unanimously to Joshua Van, and you have to rate that pretty highly. It's Joshua Van, current champ. Look what he's fucking doing. He destroyed Tatsuro Taira. So you got to rate his losses really high, but I'm not sure how high I can rate his wins. And this seems like a very tough fight, a tougher fight than Felipe Bunenz. and he won a split decision, barely won the fight in that one. If we see the same Edgar Chairez that we did 3 months ago, he loses this fight, which is why I'm picking Bruno Silva by a decision here. 2 guys off a split decision. I think it's going to be another split decision or a very close unanimous decision. So I'm going with the guy who has been fighting the better competition, in my opinion. Strength of schedule is a little bit high over the last couple fights, just a little bit higher. And he is a dog, man. Bruno Silva is more of a dog, in my opinion. He walks forward, he throws a lot of volume, and he's always going for the kill. Where Edgar Chairez does have the grit, he does like to walk forward, but I feel like he just doesn't have the dog in him like Bruno Silva, who is nicknamed Bulldog. So let's go Bruno Silva here as a slight favorite over Edgar Chairez at flyweight, and I'm thinking it's a very close decision in this one. Hopefully everybody likes the predictions so far. Let me know if you're disagreeing on anything, and let me know your favorite pick on the prelims. My favorite one so far, I mean, we got 3 women's fights. So far, it would have to be Ketlen Souza, maybe first fight of the night. I think that was a great pick to start the night off. But the last one on the prelims will be my most confident one, and that's going to be Marcus McGhee over Yannis, who looked very good in his last fight. He beat my Canadian in Canada. God damn it, shit. Now we get revenge because Marcus McGhee's off a loss, and off that loss, he's going to look career best. It was to Peter Yan, current champion. He was on a big win streak before that, and he could knock people out. He could submit lower end guys like Journey Newson. He is very well-rounded, and he's seasoned everywheres, especially on the feet where he's going to land with more power. Yet, knowing Yannis likes to box, I could see him getting caught in this fight. He knocked out his last couple fighters at Fury FC, but we're talking 4-4, 4-3, 9-2. So not the highest level guys, and I think if he's willing to trade and get crazy in the pocket with Marcus McGhee off a loss to Peter Yan, fighting at a much higher level, Marcus McGhee will put it to him and knock him out, knock him down. And if he doesn't knock him out, when he knocks him down, Yannis has been submitted twice. He's been submitted twice. The last time he lost, he got choked out in round 1 on his debut to Austin Bashi. And then on the regional scene, he was also submitted in round 2 to Gabriel Wanderlei. Looking at him, probably not at the level of Marcus McGhee, who has submission wins. Maybe only one of them, but he does have the power to get the club and sub, and he has the ability to mix it up. He's training at MMA Lab, very high-level gym, and he's the more seasoned fighter at this point in their careers. Yannis is a boxer. He's willing to get crazy and make it entertaining, but that's exactly why he will get caught and finished in this fight. Rebound fight, revenge fight, Marcus McGhee, and kind of a revenge spot for me versus Yannis, who fucked up my parlay with Jamie Sriracha there a month ago in Canada. God damn it. Time for revenge on Yannis. He's getting finished. He's cooked. He's cooked. Marcus McGhee's legit. That's why he fought Peter Yan. He's at a high level. You know, and he's 36. It's now or never. They kind of had to push him. 4-1 in the UFC, suffered his first loss in his last fight, and he was on a 6-fight win streak. Had 5 out of 6 wins by finish. Very well-rounded fighter. And I mean, I think Yannis is willing to make it crazy. The Maniac, Marcus McGhee, is the pick here. Let's make some money at the Apex. The Meta Apex should be a ton of fun. Last week was in Macau. We started the morning very early, 6 a.m., had breakfast, some Fruit Loops, had some hoots, had some drinks, tried to make some money, but still had a ton of fun. Fight Fiends forecasters, thank you for tuning in, staying forecasted, and throwing up the hand slogan. I know you're all doing it. Sometime, someday, you're like, I see him doing it. I'm going to try to do it. F3, boys and gals, F3. We even have a hand slogan. We're live every Friday giving out $50. How about that? Live every event, Proffiends. Let's get after it. Make sure you're there. dropping likes, comments in the live chat, chance to win that $50. This is a great giveaway. The giveaway wheel, every name is entered to win $50. Every name in the live chat, that is. The live chat Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, has many people in it. One comment is all you need to get entered into this giveaway wheel. And people are active throughout the whole show, which is more important. So the more active you are, doesn't matter. The more comments you put into the live chat, doesn't matter. One comment is all you need to enter to win $50. But being active, liking the video, and subscribing means a lot, goes a long way, and everybody appreciates it. Even people that didn't have a chance to win $50, they know that someone has been active in the chat and deserve that money during the giveaway wheel. So shout out to everybody participating and staying forecasted with F3. We got the main card picks coming up next at the Meta Apex. Let's get this money! And now we're going to start off the main card with Iwo, Baraniewski, and Junior Tafa, who just fought 1 month ago and got the win in his home. Not in his home country. He's from New Zealand. In his home region, he got the win to Kevin Christian, who's not a striker. He's a grappler. Stylistically, Kevin Christian couldn't get the fight to the ground, where Baraniewski can get the fight to the ground with his power. He could drop Junior Tafa and then go for that submission. That's the weakness of Junior Tafa in this fight. He's a kickboxer. 7 wins, 7 knockouts, maybe 1 decision win in there. But looking at Junior Tafa, on the feet, that's his only way to win this fight. 7 knockouts, 7 wins, 5 in round 1. Submitted 3 times in his 5 losses. By a decision, gets out-grappled. Baraniewski here, looking at him, he's 8-0 undefeated. And yeah, he won his last couple fights. Fury fights, just furious the way he's trading in the pocket. He got dropped, his opponent got dropped, he got dropped. Then he got the win. That happened with Ibo Aslan, one of the best fights I've ever seen. And then 30 seconds into the Austin Lane fight, he drops him, gets the easy win there. This one could be more of a battle in round 1 on the feet. But I feel like with all these knockouts that Iwo is getting, he has his last, let's look at it here now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, his last 6 fights all ended by knockout. The 2 before that via armbar round 1. I think he could find that armbar submission at some point in this fight, and most likely round 1, as the 100% finish rate for Iwo is 100% finish rate all in round 1 too. So all of his wins by finish, 2 submission, 6 knockout, won his last 6 by knockout though, and I think he has a chance to get the submission versus someone that has that weakness on the ground here. Junior Tafa, probably the better boxer is Iwo Baraniewski in this fight still anyways, and he could still knock out Junior Tafa. Tafa has never been knocked out, looking at it. Actually once, he was knocked out once, and that was to Marcos Rodrigo de Lima, a much heavier fighter, and that was leg kicks and ground and pound in round 2. So that's another thing for Junior Tafa. His gas tank can't really hold up either in this fight. As an underdog, you can't really take him and rely on his gas tank or bet him because of that. His cardio really isn't the best. It's his chances in round 1, which in my opinion are slim. Looking at the odds here, they could be bigger for Iwo Baraniewski, who is a potential lock of the week. I think he has that much success in this fight and early, and has the chance to get the submission too. And I would like to see the number on the submission versus the knockout, as Baraniewski won his last 6 by knockout. The knockout should be chalky in this one, minus 150, maybe not minus 150, minus 110. It could be a pick'em, plus 110 for the knockout, Iwo Baraniewski, but the submission should be 4-1, 6-1 odds, maybe higher. He's never had a submission in a long time. His first 2 fights were armbars, all the rest knockouts for Baraniewski. And we know Tafa has a weakness on the ground. I wonder if we can take advantage of it with this high confidence pick. In the next one, another high confidence pick. Looking at the odds here, don't have to talk about it too long. I'm calling another finish, probably quick. I'm not sure which one I'm more confident into finishing round 1, but I see both ending real quick. Alessandro Costa, he hasn't had back-to-back wins in quite some time. In the UFC, he's about 50%. He's a 50% fighter, but he is going to make a career in the UFC. He just has not had back-to-back wins yet in the UFC. He's kind of due for one here now. Matt Schnell, 36, is the older fighter in this matchup by 6 years. He has been known to come back, but he's been known to have a bad chin and kind of shell up like his name, Matt Schnell. Even when he gets hit on the chin, it's not a good look, and his body language is terrible. Costa won his last couple fights by knockout with the power and combinations. He's not just throwing one punch at a time. I think Costa can really throw way more volume and find a finish in this fight pretty quick. As Schnell can't hold up, he's going to shell up maybe off a body shot. There was a nice liver punch in the last fight for Alessandro Costa that dropped his opponent, Stuart Nicole, and made him not able to continue the fight. Those body shots are there for Costa. And on the ground, he could grab the back, as Matt Schnell has been submitted before. He's been finished a lot. Looking at his 10 losses, Matt Schnell, the only way to look at this one for Costa is inside the distance, in my opinion, because 9 losses for Matt Schnell are inside the distance. 4 by submission and 5 by knockout. So either way you want to play it, submission, knockout for Costa. I think it's a great look. Inside the distance should be a lock. I'm interested to see what the prop fiends are going to do Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. As Costa won his last couple fights by knockout, and it wouldn't be that hard to do it again in this fight. Although the club and sub is there too. Maybe inside the distance is the safest play. Maybe a round outcome. I'm smelling a round 1, maybe round 2 in this fight. So there's a lot of possibilities for props on this minus 550, minus 700 favorite, Alessandro Costa. Should be free money on the parlays just to win the fight. I don't see it going the distance though, I have to say that. The next one will be a fight I call going the distance with Bryce Mitchell fighting a newcomer, Santiago Luna. Luna has fought some low-level competition on the regional scene, but that's like anyone entering the UFC for the first time. They're going to fight who they have to fight on the regional scene. Steps up in competition, Luna has looked good. Unable to finish Angel Pacheco, a very durable and tough fighter in his last fight though. But he showed us the volume and how he can land in combinations like Costa. And that might be a problem for Bryce Mitchell. Bryce could get knocked out, and he could lose a decision just being inactive on the feet. I think Luna will be more active on the feet. He's going to land more, but Bryce Mitchell is more well-rounded, and he has the experience. Being well-rounded, he can take the fight to the ground, mix it in with the grappling approach, and I think Bryce Mitchell can secure the takedowns leading to a possible submission. I think Bryce is really amped up. He's another guy looking for back-to-back wins. Yet to see back-to-back wins in a while. Looking at Bryce Mitchell, the last time he's had back-to-back wins was back in 2022 off a 2-year layoff to Andre Fili by a decision. He comes back and beats Edson Barboza by a decision. But since then, hasn't really had back-to-back wins. He's had some tough fights, knocked out to Josh Emmett, and then submitted to Jean Silva. This is a chance to get back-to-back wins, in my opinion. Back-to-back fights, back-to-back wins. Seems like a good spot for Bryce Mitchell as long as he can mix in the grappling, which I expect him to do. On the feet, he looked pretty good to Edson Barboza. Knocked out Kron Gracie. I don't think he's clubbing Santiago Luna. I don't think he's landing more volume on Santiago Luna. I don't think his approach is on the feet versus Luna. I think it's on the ground, and I'm very clear with stating that. And I'm looking at the submission possibly for Bryce Mitchell, as I do believe he is a much better grappler in this fight. I think his wrestling is a lot better. His cardio is good. And even on the ground, he can mix up the ground and pound to open up Luna for Bryce to get in that submission opportunity. He can't just wrestle his way to a submission. He probably could. But Bryce Mitchell is a little underrated on the feet. The knockout to Kron Gracie, nothing to hold your head high over. But the striking looked improved to Dan Iggy and to Edson Barboza. So damn, this could be a real close fight on the feet. But I still think Luna has the advantage there. It's on the ground where I think Bryce is going to have the success. Maybe a submission win. He's fought the higher level guys. Luna, he's on a win streak, undefeated. He's yet to really see defeat, I think Bryce would be the first guy to give him that L. Bryce is a very good fighter in the UFC with a ton of experience, and he's made the move down a weight class where I think he can be more dominant. If cutting weight's not a problem for him, if he looks fine on Friday on scales, I think Bryce Mitchell is a fantastic pick this week at the Apex. It's not a big event. It's a small octagon. I think Bryce Mitchell can work his game plan. I just think he's the better fighter, period. And Luna just hasn't fought at that level of competition yet. He's taken slow steps up in competition, but I just don't think he can beat this kind of step up in competition. Thug Nasty is a different kind of nasty in that octagon. F3. And being from Arkansas, I'm wondering if Arkansas MMA Bets is going to have him Friday on the props of the week, too. This is an Arkansas guy here. Arkansas MMA Bets should be all over Bryce Mitchell this week. I know I will be. And I might even be a little bit biased. A little bit biased towards Bryce Mitchell. Now, in the next fight, I don't really have a biased take between the Frenchman, Ziam, and the Aussie, Tom Nolan. Big Train. Big Train is 10-1, 4-fight win streak. And he has the momentum, although Ziam is on a win streak too. Picked up his wins in his last 6 fights by just being the better fighter. Winning decisions. He's had no problem doing that. But he's found a knockout in his last fight, and something that I didn't really see coming. The knockout from Ziam. His boxing looked much improved, and his power was there. To Nazem Sadikov, he caught him. His counter-striking looked very good, and his power was there. He sliced him up, and he really just looked more seasoned on the feet, really comfortable, and he was able to pick his shots very well. Never got too frustrated in that fight. And over the last 6 fights, you've never seen Ziam get too frustrated. He's always had a good game plan and has followed it. You know, he's just looking like a really clean fighter over these fights. And his cardio is also cut and dry, better than Tom Nolan, who, when getting tested, taken to deep waters, he could tend to fade. Even on the feet in boxing combinations, I think Ziam could have some success here, as Nicholas Mota was able to knock out Tom Nolan. But Ziam is kind of like a big decision dominator guy, and I don't see him pulling out that knockout again unless Tom Nolan really gasses himself out, 1, or 2, gets into boxing range and gets caught in the pocket here. That's something that could happen too, as Nicholas Mota was able to do it. I think Ziam could also do it. Ziam is much better than Nicholas Mota, and he looked ferocious in his last fight, knocking out Nazem Sadikov. So I don't think I'm wrong in saying that. And the cardio is a question for Tom Nolan. I know he took Alex Reyes, Dominic Reyes' brother, to a decision, and then Vyacheslav Borshev. But those fighters still aren't even at the level of a Ziam. Tom Nolan is really going to get tested in this fight, I think. In deep waters, he could get finished. Knowing that Nicholas Mota was able to do it, knowing that Ziam's off a nice knockout win, 6-fight win streak, momentum on both guys' sides. So maybe it's a spot where Tom Nolan gets a little cocky and is willing to exchange in the pocket, not respecting Ziam and his power, and then boom, the power's there again. Ziam gets another knockout. Like, I could see that happening too. But no matter how it goes, knockout or a decision, I am leaning Ziam in both situations in this fight to get his hand raised. Huge respect, though, to the young 26-year-old 10-1 Tom Big Train Nolan, who's very exciting and has a really good career ahead of him. The Frenchman is the pick, and normally I like to fade the French, but in this stylistic fight and looking at the strength of schedule, I think Ziam is the right side in this one. Even though it's a big price to pay, -300, -400, don't necessarily agree with the price. I think it could be an almost pick 'em fight. But yeah, I guess we'll have the bookies on our side on this fight here. -300 is a price to pay, and I'm not sure if I'm willing to do that. And the next fight is the co-main event, where I'm going to side with another favorite this time, a little bit better of a price, -250. And I think Brendan Allen can use his game plan in this fight, which will be the grappling approach versus Edmund Shabazian. Shabazian is kind of like Junior Tafa. He's very good on the feet and very good early. But other than that, outside of round 1, I think he will be in trouble the longer the fight goes. And I really can see him getting taken down and controlled in this fight. I'm going to call a round 2 submission for Brendan Allen, as over his last couple fights, he didn't have any submission wins. He was on a 4-fight win streak, all by rear naked choke, but since then he suffered defeat, picked up a couple wins by a decision last fight, corner stoppage against RDR, Reiner Ritter. And in that fight, Reiner Ritter started to gas out. Brendan Allen had the volume and looked much improved on the feet. So with that being said, the striking improvements from Allen should be just enough, definitely will be enough, to stop Edmund Shabazian early in this fight and match everything he's going to offer. Unless Brendan Allen gets caught with a head kick or counter shot on the feet. Anything can and will happen inside of the octagon. But I think Brendan Allen's going to stay safe and get this fight to the ground. And I think that submission could happen in round 1 with the advantage Allen has on the ground here too. It's pretty significant, especially with the move of training camps. Brendan Allen is now training with the likes of Hamzat Chimaev and that crew. So a really good move of camps here. He's looking good in this fight. Bookies have him minus 250 versus Edmund Shabazian, who is going to be more one-dimensional in this fight. We got the more well-rounded fighter in this one, and making the move to train with Hamzat and those kind of guys, I think it will help him on the ground in this fight, although he's already really good on the ground. Had a 4-fight win streak, all rear naked choke. It's just been a while since Allen picked up the rear naked choke his last 5 fights. Never seen the rear naked choke. This seems like the perfect spot to get just that. Edmund Shabazian in those 5 losses has been knocked out 3 times though, and twice in round 3. So looking at later props for Brendan Allen, and I am siding with him by a submission over Edmund Shabazian. The most recent loss for Edmund Shabazian was also a submission to Gerald Meerschaert. So I don't think the knockout is the play for Brendan Allen, as GM3 was able to choke out Edmund Shabazian, get the fight to the ground, and have success. I think Brendan Allen will too. And given the fact that Allen hasn't had that submission in quite some time, I feel like it's time. And now it's time for the main event of the evening. Remember the name. I can't remember the name. What is it? Belal Muhammad. Is that the guy that was the former champion? Yeah, Belal Muhammad. Remember the name. Belal Muhammad here. Former champion, 24-5. Respectful career and record. And it's very tough to beat a guy like this, a high-volume striker, Belal Muhammad, who has Khabib cardio here. And he has trained with Khabib and the boys before, Belal Muhammad. He has a relentless pace and pressure, and I think it's going to win him this fight. The experience will come into play here. Championship rounds where Belal has been there, done that, and has been fighting at a much higher level. He just fought Ian Gary, Jack Della Maddalena in a fight that he lost his belt in. But in that Jack Della Maddalena fight, it went down to round 5, and Belal was looking very good in the fight. Although it was back and forth, he's fighting at the higher level here, and he was just the former champ. Beat Leon Edwards there to get the belt pretty cleanly. His takedown defense really good, and I think he will be the better wrestler in this fight. More superior with those takedowns and control, where Bonfim is more apt to search for a submission rather than that control, which will cause him to lose minutes, not get the control that he needs. He'll be laying on his back, I would say, in this fight, as Belal has the top control, pressure on the feet too, and finding the better takedowns would be Belal Muhammad. Although he could just use those Canelo hands. He talks about those Canelo hands. His hands are pretty good. He can gas out Gabriel Bonfim in this fight too, just with the Canelo hands, volume striking, and I could see him do just that. So as a favorite, I actually like Belal Muhammad in this main event. Gabriel Bonfim, he's 19-1, but I'm not really sold that he is that elite prospect or that guy. 19-1, still seeing some holes in his game. He's on a 4-fight win streak. He's kind of due for the loss here. Now he's an underdog on a 4-fight win streak. 19-1. Belal lost his last 2 fights. Like, I'm going to agree with the price here. Former champ Belal gets it done. But I got to say, Gabriel Bonfim, not sure if he can go 25 minutes. Like, he got knocked out in round 2 to Nicholas Dalby. That was his 3rd UFC fight. And he really gassed out. Didn't have the cardio in that fight. Now, over the last 4 fights, his cardio has been fine, winning 2 decisions with that being said. But I still question his cardio. And I don't know if he can go 25 minutes. Championship rounds favors Belal Muhammad. And I really could see the volume striking being a problem So much of a problem that Belal could find the knockout finish. The decision dominator, Belal Muhammad himself, I could actually see finding a finish in this fight. Kind of like the Sean Brady fight, where Sean Brady was kind of one-dimensional with his game plan. Really relying on that takedown submission. And once he was not able to have success with the takedowns, get a takedown, and have success, knowing that he wasn't able to get the submission, like, it was pretty well downhill from there. Ended up getting knocked out. And that could be the same thing here, kind of downhill once Gabriel Bonfim can't get the control or submission. Once he knows that it's going to be a long night, it could just be downhill real fast and him end up getting finished on the feet. Canelo hands can come into play here for sure, but Belal on the ground, I believe, is still the better wrestler, will have the better control, and all around, he's just at the higher level. He's been fighting the higher level competition. But at some point, Gabriel Bonfim is going to take a big step up in competition. This is it here now. He's slowly been taking steps up in competition in his UFC career here. Lost to Nicholas Dalby, gets Ange Lusa, wins a decision, then gets Chaos Williams, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Randy Brown. So then another step up is Belal Muhammad, but I don't believe he will pass the test here in this stylistic fight. Belal has the cardio. He has the boxing, and I do believe he will have the wrestling, takedown defense in this fight. Hopefully he can stay safe on the feet. Gabriel Bonfim doesn't land a knee in the clinch, because that's how he beat Randy Brown there, knee in the clinch. Nice shot to the liver with the knee, ended up ending the fight. Something like that, like a liver shot, could end the fight, but I don't believe Bonfim will be good enough to duplicate that, and I don't think he's getting it done on the ground here. Remember the name. Belal Muhammad is the play here. Main event. Now please smash the like button on this video. Suplex Slim, the subscribe button. And join Discord. It's absolutely free. Shout out to Prelim Tim in Discord. He has his own channels. Next licks you're going to want access to Discord for the Knicks Spurs NBA Finals. You want full access to Discord, smash the link in the description. And Prelim Tim has UFC picks, bets. He has his own channel here, so he's putting out a ton of work, and you can see all of Prelim Tim's bets for free in Fight Fiend Forecast Discord. Totally worth joining that for free, as we have a forecast lobby, links lobby where you can see all the video links. We got an NBA forecast, NHL forecast, NFL forecast, MLB, soccer. And then we got the Zodiac information locked up for Patreon forecasters. If you want to unlock all the channels in Discord, all what you got to do, join Patreon, and that will link you into Discord, unlock all the channels. We also have free bets, a giveaway section, and everybody can show their bet wins and give their picks in Discord, as we have a forecast lobby. Prelim Tim has a UFC lobby, and there's a couple other lobbies with the NHL, NBA, MLB, NFL, and soccer. And then, like I said, we got the gematria, numerology stuff going on, so we do have a Zodiac chat there for the Platinum Forecasters. Everything in one tier once you become a member. I did have 2 tiers set up at the start of the year, but I ended that. I want everything in one tier, just up the price a little bit, but there's a ton of information in one tier, all sports added in there. And now for Discord, absolutely free, Prelim Tim has the Knicks Licks UFC forecast channels, giving out his bets for free. Frickin' smash the link in the description below. Smash the like button, and I'll be seeing everybody soon as I'm back doing live streams, so stay forecasted for those. Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time is Prop Fiends, and we're giving out $50, so good luck to everybody this week. Let's get the win and make some money at that Meta Apex. Woo!